Clix is one of the greatest Fortnite players of all time, with over $700,000 in Fortnite earnings. He's been competing in the top tournaments like FNCS and the Fortnite World Cup for over 8 years, which is what makes him a true GOAT. As well as being a great player, he's also the largest Fortnite content creator, so many people aspire to play just like him. So in this video, I'm going to be running through Clix's complete Fortnite settings. I've copied his Fortnite settings onto my PC, and I'm going to run through them with you guys. Be sure to watch the whole video, because for each setting, I explain the positives and negatives that come with it, so you can make an informed decision whether you want to have each setting on or off. But without further ado, let's get right into the settings. Okay, so we are now in Fortnite right here, and just before I get into the settings right here, I've actually changed my username to 𝗧𝗛𝗘𝗦𝗘, just like Clix's real username. So I've made my account just like his, so everything is the exact same, including the settings, guys, as you can see. But I'm going to get into every single setting and explain it right here for you guys. So windowed mode, Clix plays on full screen, which gives you the most FPS. You should know this by now. Windowed full screen gives it FPS disadvantage because your game is not centered on Fortnite. Clix has his resolution on 1920 by 1080 with a 16:9 ratio. This is his monitor's native resolution, which is what will give him the most FPS. VSync, of course, Clix has VSync off, okay? Having VSync on gives you a massive performance decrease. And Clix's frame rate limit is on 240 FPS. Just like his monitor's hertz of 240 hertz, he has his frame rate on 240 FPS. For the rendering mode, Clix plays on the legacy performance mode and not the new performance mode right here. The legacy performance mode is much more tested and gives the most FPS out of all the four. Now moving on to the graphics section, Clix plays on a brightness of 150%. This is the greatest brightness you can actually have, and it allows you to see more players. However, your visibility might be a bit messed up in the storm, but this is what Clix has been playing on for years. He's most comfortable with, so he has it on 150%. You could ignore user interface contrast because this is just the contrast of your settings right here. Now moving on to colorblind mode, Clix actually plays without any colorblind settings, so you can literally just turn this off and ignore that setting right here. And for the user interface parallax, you want to have this off. It doesn't really matter, but just keep this off. Now moving on to the graphics quality settings, which are the important ones for FPS and performance. Clix has a 3D resolution on 100%, okay? Setting it anywhere below 100% will actually not allow you to see your native resolution that you've set up here. So make sure you have it at 100%, even if setting it to like 95 will give you more FPS, it is definitely not worth it as you literally can't see anything. Dynamic 3D resolution should be off. Now for view distance, Clix has his view distance on medium. However, having a view distance on far or epic does allow you to see players for further away without that much of an FPS decrease. So I would recommend having it on actually far or epic. However, Clix does want the best FPS out of his game, so he has it on medium. Even near would be better, but that's completely fine. A setting you do want to have on low, however, is textures and also meshes, okay? You want to have these both on low for the mobile build effects. This is what will give you the most FPS, the best performance, so put these both on low for the best performance. Now for the advanced graphics settings, show FPS should be on, latency markers off. For NVIDIA Reflex low latency, you should have this setting on if you're on a mid to high-end PC. However, if you're on a low-end PC, put this setting onto on plus boost right here. And then report performance stats should be disabled. Now moving on to the audio tab right here, these are Clix's exact volume settings right here, so you can copy them. Main is on 23%, music 0, music lobby 100%, sound effects 100%, dialogue 100%, voice chat 88%, cinematics 100%, and then picture in picture 50%. For sound quality, he actually has it on high. However, I've said in previous videos, putting it on low will give you more FPS. Obviously, Clix is rich, he plays on a nice PC, so he can afford to have it on high. However, if you're just an average guy with a mid-end PC, put it on low. However, if you have like the best specs in the world, you can afford to put it on high, okay? 3D headphones should be off. Background audio should be on notifications only. You can ignore the subtitle setting right here. Visualize sound effects should of course be on. If you're not playing with it on, what are you doing? It's what allows you to see footsteps and gunfire from over 50 meters away and stuff your headphones can't pick up. So make sure that's on. And now your audio output device should just be your headphones and whatever you're connected to. And then licensed audio you should put on play. Now the communication tab right here is nice and simple. Clix just turns voice chat off and text chat off. Okay, no one uses the text chat in Fortnite, and when Clix plays with his teammates, he talks on Discord and not voice chat, so you can ignore these settings and just make sure they're both off. Now moving on to the game tab right here, Clix's region is on NA Central. Obviously he lives in Dallas by the Fortnite servers, so have it on NA Central if you guys want to play on your server. However, I just recommend putting on auto, the closest for you. However, Clix does have it on NA Central. Now for the language, just have this on English for the video. However, if you speak with another language, obviously you can change that accordingly. Toggle sprint should be on, auto open doors off, mantle activation and hurdle activation, hold jump and press jump. Now for the combat settings, hold to swap pickup on, toggle targeting off, mark danger when targeting on, auto pickup weapons, you want to have this off, okay? Clix does not play with auto pickup weapons. He uses scroll wheel pickup, which I'll show you guys how to set up in a bit, but you definitely want to have auto pickup weapons off because you will accidentally pick up weapons like 2 shotguns and then it will be all clunky, especially in endgame when you're running through loot, so turn that off. Swap fire buttons for pump and dub on. And then for preferred item slots, I have copied Clix's exact ones onto my PC. So loadout 1 should be assault rifle, 2 is shotgun, loadout 3 and 4 should be safe for consumable items, and then loadout 5 should be for your sniper or bow. Okay, nice and simple right there. So copy that and then we'll get back to the settings. Auto sort consumables to the right should be on, reset turbo building off, and then turbo building, of course, you need to have the setting on. It's nice and simple like that. Obviously, you won't be able to build if it's not on. For editing, Clix plays without simple edit. No Fortnite professional players use simple edit, including me, including Clix. So definitely have this off. It's gonna mess you up big time. Disable pre-edit option. Clix plays with this on, okay? This means that he can't make pre-edits in game. He usually lets his teammates do the pre-edits while he's fighting. So definitely turn this on if you guys want to play like Clix. Auto confirm edits is on none. Clix does not use confirm edit on release on, okay? Clix plays with the chapter 1 style of editing, which he's been playing on for years, so I don't blame him. However, confirm edit on release on is actually faster these days. This is what 𝗣𝗟𝗘𝗦𝗕 uses, this is what I use, this is what most Fortnite players use these days. However, Clix has been used to this setting on none for years, so he does play with this on, and it can allow you to get better peaks in some scenarios. So if you guys want to copy Clix, make sure you put it on none. Contextual tips, you should have this off. Turbo delete in creative mode on. NVIDIA highlights off. Peripheral lighting on. Tap to search, interact, you should have this on. This is what's going to allow you to open chests really easily without having to hold it the whole time. So definitely have this setting on. And then for the field of view settings, just make sure these are the maximum degrees, okay? You guys do not want to mess up your FOV in game. You could ignore these 2 jam track settings right here. And then onto replays. Of course, you guys want to have replays off, okay? Record all of these replays off. Make sure all of these settings are off because recording replays on will give you a performance decrease in game right here. If you want to VOD review your Fortnite games, that is understandable. However, for tournaments and stuff like that, you should definitely have it off and you can watch your replays back through the compete tab in Fortnite. So turn these replays off. And then for the energy saving settings, activate sleep mode after never, enable idle energy saving off, and then enable inactive window energy saving off. Now moving on to the game UI settings right here, I'm going to show you every setting Clix has that I've copied onto my computer and explain them as well. So reticle you want to have on, reticle ammo indicator on, show spread and show recoil, definitely have these on, and then pull reticle on. For damage numbers, he has this on cumulative, okay? He lets Fortnite do the math when he hits players. It will automatically add up his damage. For example, if he hits 33 3 times, it will say 99 rather than saying 33 3 times if you have it on list. It's much better. All the pros use this. I use it, 𝗣𝗟𝗦𝗕 uses, Clix uses this, so make sure you have it on cumulative. Reticle damage feedback you want to have on hits only, and then damage number scale, Clix plays on 88%. For Clix's HUD scale, he has it on 69%. Show spectator count on, show quick bar buttons on, player health on, resources on, minimap on, quick bar on, target info on, pick up loot stream on, map and backpack keys on, elimination feed on, and then latency debug stats, you want to have this off, and then net debug stats, which is your ping, you want to have this off, okay? Turn these performance stats off, okay? It will give you better performance overall, and it will be less distracting. Quest progress on, control prompts on, and then runtime performance stats off. Now moving on to the touch and motion tab, you actually can skip right through this. Clix does not play with the controller or gyro options, so you can move right here, and we will go onto the sensitivity settings, which I'm sure you guys are waiting to see, okay? So I'm going to run through them real quick. You could ignore these 3 settings. So here is Clix's updated Fortnite sensitivity right here. Clix plays on 8.7x and 6.3y sensitivity, okay? This is relatively fast, okay, with a DPI of 800s, so it's in the mid to high range when regarding sensitivity speeds. It's decently smooth, which gives Clix nice controlled aim. However, it is fast enough to hit nice, fast editing and building. Great piece control, great mechanics from Clix. So copy these settings if you guys want to play like Clix. For targeting sensitivity, Clix has it on 60%, scope on 35%, building and editing on 100%, first person mode on 100%, okay? So these are nice standard aiming and sensitivity settings. You might notice that it's 8.7 and 6.3 are kind of unbalanced, okay, right here, and that is because Clix moves more active on the x-axis and less on the y-axis, which kind of makes sense, right? He looks around on the x-axis, which is left to right, and then he looks up and down a bit less, so he has this balance right here, which I would recommend for upcoming Fortnite players. Zoom scaling should be on legacy, ignore controller input off, lock input method as mouse off. And then for Clix's custom diagonal 3D movement right here, use custom diagonal should be of course on. Forward diagonal angle, Clix plays on 62% right here, strafe angle 90, and backward diagonal angle 135. For his touchpad settings, turn this off right here. Mouse flight should of course be on 100%, and then you can turn the tank setting off. Now moving on to Clix's official keybinds right here. These are very important. This is what he uses. This is what he binds all his buttons to. This is what gives him the golden touch in Fortnite. So I'm going to run through every single setting right here while noting the important ones to you guys. So make sure you listen carefully. For example, reset building edit or scroll wheel pickup, which I'll get into in a second. So for the movement settings, crouch, C, sprint, Clix has it on control. Auto run, he has it on his bottom mouse button, so mouse button 4 for his mouse. Jump, space, nice and simple. Clix uses WASD to move, which is nice and easy. And then weapon primary, left click, weapon secondary, right click. This is nice and simple. This is just shooting and aiming. And then reload should be on R, nice and simple. For Clix's item slot settings, all the way from his pickaxe to weapon slot 5, Clix uses the number 1 to 6 in ascending order. Okay, so do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as so if you guys want to copy Clix's item slot binds. And then use, so this is what's going to allow you to have scroll wheel pickup. So you can literally pick up items by scrolling like this with your mouse wheel. Like you can hear that it's so fast because obviously when you scroll, you might scroll like 10 pickups rather than just pressing E once. So Clix has E, okay, that's to like enter cars and use stuff. However, he actually picks stuff up with his mouse wheel up button. So copy that mouse wheel up to pick up stuff, which is really fast. Toggle scope mode is on caps lock. And then for the building settings, crouch while building, C once again for crouch. Wall is F, floor is X, stairs Q, roof V, and then trap T. These are very good settings, especially if you're not as good with building on your mouse button. Clix has all his builds and his edit button, which I'll get into in a second, on his left hand, which is nice and simple. I actually do something very similar. I have all these exact binds in a different order. I have VXFQT. I have a settings video on my settings. However, obviously me and Clix have very similar play styles. We play the exact same, compete in the same tournaments, and obviously it shows off, right? I have a lot of earnings. He has a lot of earnings. We're actually locked in. Place building should be on left click. Repair upgrade should be on H. Rotate building R. Change building material Z. For building edit, Clix uses G right here to edit his builds. And then you can also notice Clix uses scroll wheel down to edit his builds, along with scroll wheel down to reset the building edit. And this is what gives you scroll wheel reset, okay? So you can reset your builds instantly by just scrolling your bind, like here. You can hear me scrolling my mouse button and it will reset all your builds, okay? So it's nice and simple. Use that setting right here. Crouch while editing on C. Select building edit on left click, reset building edit on right click, along with the scroll wheel down. Like I mentioned again, this is what's going to be the super fast resets. And then reset building, you can just leave this option blank. For the communication setting right here, toggle text chat, you can just ignore this one right here and turn it off, because like I said earlier, Clix doesn't use Fortnite's text chat. For communication, place marker, you can have this on your mouse button, just like Clix. So he has it on his top mouse button 5, as you can see right here. And then you could ignore these settings because they're not as important. They're just squad requests and stuff you would use if you didn't have a microphone. And then emote, you should have emote on enter, just like Clix. Obviously, it's far away from his movement, WASD, so it won't accidentally distract him in game. And then you can skip past a few settings until you get to toggle map and cursor mode, okay? So cursor mode, which is actually your inventory right here, if you guys didn't know, it will allow you to open your inventory in one tap and close it when you just release the button. So your inventory is only open when you're holding it down, rather than pressing it once and then closing it. You'll do it just in one go, which is nice and really simple. So this is a secret setting right here that pros have been gatekeeping. However, I'm revealing it right here. So cursor mode should be on Alt, and then toggle map, Clix uses M to open his map. And then apart from that, all of these settings you can actually skip past because they're just movement settings for like planes, etc. So you can just skip past them. Controller settings are done, and then you can skip past these personal settings right here. Obviously, if you guys want to play like Clix, you can turn friend requests off, okay, and then hide your display name, put this on so you're anonymous mode in game. However, those are his full Fortnite settings. So we're just going to go ahead and press apply right here, nice and simple. And now we have Clix's complete Fortnite settings. So there we have it, Clix's complete Fortnite settings. If you guys want another professional player's settings, let me know who in the comments, as well as making sure you are subscribed to my channel. It really helps. I'm on the road to 100,000 subscribers and it will mean everything when I hit that. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe. It really helps me out. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.